So then why is Tesla up over $7 this morning, breaking clearly through the $200 level again? Well, for some of the same reasons that it was down yesterday in an okay flat market. Who knows? No, that's just not true. But however, if you look around at the headlines, I could find at least one headline. I think it was Barron's, who thinks it was because of the interview last night that Elon Musk had with the ex-president. I don't think so. Number two is you got to go with the market is doing well this morning after good numbers out of the PPAI. I'm sorry, the PPI. Maybe, the market is doing well this morning, but Tesla's doing way better than the market. I would tend to think that this is a kind of a reaction to yesterday's nonsense about Cybertruck, which might have been the reason it was down yesterday. And today people are going, that was nonsense, because the Cybertruck, the low-end Cybertruck, whatever the price is going to be, whether it's going to be 60,000, whether it's going to be 65, whether it's going to be 50 or 45, we don't know. We know that since Elon said that there was going to be a $40,000 truck, we've seen an increase in the inflation figure has been, on the order of, I don't know, 25, 30, I forget now what the percentage is because it's so huge, you can't even think about it. So if you take 40% and $40,000 and you add inflation in, you'd probably be at least at 50,000. But anyway, the truth is, there's a lot of orders out there for Cybertrucks. And as Larry said last night, he still thinks that Cybertruck will be the best-selling pickup truck in the world before long. All right, probably could take a couple of years though to get the unit production up that high. Let's take a look at what we do know. These are the facts that as opposed to the speculation. Let's look at some of the facts. Tesla Economics this morning is saying that 15,500 Teslas were insured in China last week, and that's the best week so far in Q3, which has already been a strong quarter. Unfortunately, the other folks who typically give me a little help with the other percentages, increase, etc., had not been reporting yet this morning, and so I don't have that for you. If I have it later, I'll do it tonight. Okay, so let's talk about that that conversation, as Elon likes to call it, last night. Shockingly, the headlines for the Musk-Trump Spaces on X weren't that bad. Many mentioned the late start as a glitch, some even speculating that Elon was not being fully truthful about a distributed denial of service problem, thinking that it's, the Spaces is just glitchy and not good and blah, blah, blah. Some think he made up the DDoS problem, but I tend to trust Elon. Now, maybe Elon was thinking it was a DDoS because I'm reading where there might have been 1 billion people trying to get 1 billion, 1/7 of the planet, 1/8 of the planet trying to get on last night. I don't think that's true either, but that's being reported. If it was even, 500 million or 300 million, it would have been way more than he was expecting. They were going for about 8 million, I think. That was the expectation, was 8 million. They had done planning based on 8 million, but maybe it was 25 million, and that would make a big difference. Anyway, let me get to my just a quick personal impression of the talk last night. Number one, Elon is not a great interviewer. Sorry, I've been doing this for a very, very long time. I did it on radio. Now I do it here. Interviewing is it's a skill set like anything else. And Elon has not had a lot of practice with this. He's been the interviewee, but not the interviewer. He should really, really watch how Lex Fridman does it. He is the best. Rogan is good and other people are good, but Lex is the best because Lex is super, super prepared. He has his questions lined up. He knows where the direction he wants to take the interview. If you watch my interviews, you'll see the same thing. I've got my questions lined up. You'll see that I know where I want to go with the program, and I don't let my interviewees take over, which has happened last night for the most part. Now, with regard to the president, if any of you are in sales, you know that you probably have a lot of the parts of your sales presentation completely well, if it's not memorized, you just said it so often that it might as well be memorized. And that's what you were getting last night a lot from Trump, is because he's in campaign mode, and he's in salesman mode. He's a salesman after all. That's basically who he is. And he was selling last night, and it's really hard for him to move off of that thing without a lot of good interviewing techniques, and that's what was missing. So, but Elon did have a certain number of things that he wanted Trump to hear, and he got those in, but unfortunately it was forced. It wasn't natural. And Trump was not in listening mode. He's supposed to be a really, really good listener, somebody who is always trying to hear, asking people around him for advice and direction, and information, so that he can become smarter and better at these various things. But he was not in that mode last night, and Elon didn't smoothly move Trump into that kind of a category. As a result, I don't think that even though Musk made his points about electric generation, about nuclear energy, about solar battery, about EV vehicles, about nuclear, all these different things, I just don't think Trump heard him, except maybe on the Governmental Efficiency Commission, because Musk kept pounding and pounding and pounding it. And I think that there's some evidence that President Trump did get that part of it. All right, this is Randy Kirk. Please hit like, subscribe. Do you get anything out of this channel? Do you get $1 worth a month? Well, I don't have a dollar category. Do you get $3 worth of value out of watching these programs each month? And do you have $3 to spare? I know it's a tough economy. Anyway, R5, R10, just down there in the description, you can hit that Patreon button. All right, let's talk about the producer price index. Now, I found out this morning that maybe I'm just going to admit to you, I might be looking at this producer price index wrong, because everybody is saying that it was 0 month over month for the core PPI. For those who reported it, a lot of the reporting, CNBC, etc., don't even report the core. They only report the headline. But I kept looking around for people to show me, and I've even asked on X, where is this core number that I'm missing? Because this is word for word out of the PPI. The producer price index for final demand increased by 0.1% in July, seasonally adjusted, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported. Final demand price rose 0.2% in June, was unchanged in May, so you can see that's an average of 0.1% for 3 months in a row. On an adjusted basis, the index for final demand advanced 2.2% for the 12 months ended in July. Everybody's reporting that headline number. I can see this. I can read it. Here's the next part. The July rise in the index for final demand can be attributed to prices for final demand goods, which moved up 0.6%. Nobody's reporting that. I think I got this right. In contrast, the index for final demand services fell 0.2%. Well, great. It's good to see that services might finally have their inflation falling, but nobody's reporting on this final demand goods, which went up 0.6%. That's not a good number. Anyway, and then we got here we go. Here's the core. As far as I'm concerned, and this is where maybe I'm confused, but maybe somebody can help me out. Go to the PPI page and see what you can find. I don't know. Prices for final demand less foods, energy, and trade services advanced 0.3% in July after increasing 0.1% in June. For the 12 months ending in July, the index for final demand less food, energy, etc., 3.3%. So I look at this as being core. Maybe this is core, and that's where I'm getting it wrong. But I read it. I couldn't find anything that said zero change anywhere on the page. So help me out, folks. Anyway, 0.3%. If this is core, and the core went up 0.3%, that's not good. But the market's happy. So market's happy, I'm happy. The National Federation of Independent Businessmen report was businessmen. Oh man. I know you got, I'm glad this entire group out there that's listening right now is men. The National Federation of Independent Business People, I guess, report was somewhat directionally good, but it was not Great. The NFIB Small Business Optimism Index rose 2.2 points in July to 93.7. That is the highest reading since February 2022. Yay, that's good news. However, this is the 31st consecutive month below the 50-year average of 98. Inflation remains the top issue among small business owners, with 25% reporting as their single most important problem in operating their business. That's up 4 points from June. Seasonally adjusted, a net 33% reported raising compensation in July, down 5 points from June and the lowest reading since April 2021. So they're not spending the problem of compensation is still a huge issue, but it is moderating. But this is where the most pressure right now is coming on prices. A net 2% of owners plan inventory investment. That's good. The net percent of owners expecting higher real sales volumes rose 4%. That's good, but it was a net negative 9%. That's bad. The net percent of owners raising average selling prices fell 5 points. That's good. 22% are planning to raise prices. Seasonally adjusted, a net 24% planned price hikes in July. Wait a minute. Net percent of owners raising average selling prices already. I'm sorry. They already raised them. Okay. Dropped to 22%. Seasonally adjusted, 24% planned price hikes in July. That's down 2 points and the lowest reading since April 23, just a few months ago. 38% of all owners reported job openings they could not fill for the current period. That's about even, about up 1 point from June. The frequency of reports of positive profit trends was a net negative 30%. 1 point worse than June. So these folks aren't making money. Owners, among owners reporting lower profits, 33% blame weaker sales, not good. 17% blamed the rise in cost of materials. 11% cited labor costs, and 10% cited lower selling costs. For owners reporting higher profits, 45% credited sales volumes, 31% credited unusual seasonal change. Wow. And 11% cited higher selling prices. Okay, let's turn to Home Depot. You know, this is one of the ones that I look at each month when they report. On Tuesday, this is from the CNBC. On Tuesday, Wall Street Journal says that Home Depot topped quarterly expectations, but cautioned that sales will be weaker than expected in the back half of the year as high interest rates and consumer uncertainty dampen demand. The home improvement retailer said it now expects full year comparable sales to decline by 3 to 4% compared with the prior fiscal year. Previously expected comparable sales, a metric that takes out the impact of store openings, closures, etc., to decline only 1%. So this is an increase in their expectation of a decrease. Not good. Yet over the past quarter, he said surveys of customers and home professionals like contractors have captured another challenge: a more cautious consumer. Quote, pros tell us that for the first time, their customers aren't just deferring because of higher financing costs. He said they're deferring because of the sense of greater uncertainty in the economy. Pay attention to this. This is the kind of stuff that Wall Street doesn't get because they just don't dig deep enough. They've got too much to do. They've got a huge number of things that they have to accomplish for their jobs. I only have one job, and that is to look at the overall economy and to read everything and to go back in historically, and to take a look at it every single day. That's all I do, which is why you should join Patreon and support me. Wall Street Journal says the �ZEW, Z-E-W, indicator of economic sentiment, which tracks analysts' economic expectations for the next 6 months, in Germany, this is in Germany, fell 22.6 points. 22.6 points to 19.2 in August. This is well behind a forecast of 29. So they're expecting 29 and they got 19.2. This is the fourth largest economy in the world, I believe. Deteriorating economic hopes for the Eurozone. U.S. and China meant the sentiment for export extensive sectors, a key driver of Germany's economic capabilities declined, according to ZOO President 𝐒𝐿𝐴𝐚. Okay, well, let's see how all of that is impacting the stock exchange and all of these other numbers. You now have Tesla up 8.28%, as mentioned at the beginning of this episode. There is no reason for this. We're at 205.77, but maybe, as I mentioned, a reaction to yesterday, which was down for no reason. But happy to see $8.22 up. The overall Dow Jones up 86.44, NASDAQ up 236. I know what that's about. And then the S&P up 41. Then we go down and look at the Magnificent Seven. We have NVIDIA up 5. Remember, that would have been 50. So think about it that way. It's 114 now. I think some of you might have bought at around 100. But pretty much everybody up. Meta up 6, Microsoft up 3, et cetera, et cetera. So Magnificent Seven doing well this morning. Even Apple up strongly at $3.39. We got the every single one of the Cathie Woods is up this morning, and in some cases over a buck, here and there. So a good morning also for the Cathie Woods stocks. Let's go back to the percentages. We have got Dow Jones up 0.27, NASDAQ up 1.41, S&P up 0.81, but Tesla's up 3.97, way outside of their typical delta compared to the other stocks. Apple, again, up 1.63, so even that is beyond the NASDAQ numbers. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at those bonds. I think you can guess. What would you guess? Come on, let me know. What's your guess about the bonds this morning if you haven't looked? The bonds are down, the 10-year down 4.2 basis points at 3.867. Nice to see that. I think we're going to 3.25, and that has been my number for a while. We have got the 2-year also down 4.8 basis points to 3.967, exactly 10 basis points ahead, or worse than the 10-year, which is still inverted. And then the 2-month is only down 0.4 of a basis point this morning. So as usual, completely going the wrong way. That's like 140 basis points out of whack. So yeah, what can I say? Oil this morning down $1.06, retreating back under $80 for Texas Intermediate, but still way above the 73 bucks that it was just a couple of days ago. But it's continuing to head down 1.36%. Brent down a similar amount. 81.25, just barely above 80 now, but also a very small difference between them, only $2 and change, $2.10, 20 cents. That's unusual. Natural, which is usually an indication that there's nothing going on in the Middle East, but we know there is. So yeah, that's a little weird. Natural gas this morning back up again, 1.32, recovering $2.22 now. That's pretty strong for natural gas. Gold up 750. We may be getting close. Let's go ahead and take a quick look. Looking like all-time high, getting close. Yeah, I think we're at all-time high now. 25.11 this morning. We've got silver down 1.15 in the same breath at 27.70. And copper back over $4, but down this morning 0.53%. Okay, we have got the dollar down against the yen, up against the euro by small amounts. Euro, though, up 0.21, so not terrible, not that small. Then we go into the Bitcoin, which is up 361 this morning, but still under 60,000 at 59,453. All right, so if we go on back and see if Tesla is going in the same direction. No, down a little bit from that $8 at $7.52. Okay, so what is my direction for you today? I have got Tesla Boomer Mama coming on in about 3 hours, about 4 hours, about 11 o'clock this morning. Tesla Boomer Mama interview about, about how Tesla and Elon Musk are being completely undermined by the U.S. government, by officials in the U.S. government, by elected people in the U.S. government, and even by the Eurozone now, with a horrible ridiculous letter that came out yesterday from the head of their folks that are monitoring these social media channels. Unbelievable, unlivable in terms of a future in this world if we have the Eurozone doing what they're threatening, or the way that they're threatening. So you need to listen to this conversation with Alexandra later this morning, and then of course we will have the unbelievably cool Nick Gibbs. He'll be on tonight. And you should have watched yesterday. You absolutely should have watched my interview with Brian White, because it was good. Yeah, so there's the card if you want to go back and check that out. Yeah, there you go. And then you know, my third plea. Come on. Let's get some Patreon going, okay? Patreon, yeah, it's down below. You can check it out. That's all I got for you today. It's been great talking to you.